Good evening, everybody. So now the real question is going to be, can you hear me over the music? Or am I going to need to lower it? I might as well make sure that this is working the way it should. Should very much be in the background. If you guys can hear me okay over this background music, then we should be good. Had some issues with whether or not you could hear the music at all, and I found myself having to turn my volume way up to be able to hear it. Yeah, it's okay, Retro Gamer. Thanks for coming tonight. It should be pretty fun tonight as well. And yeah, just next Simpsons Sunday is going to be September 13th, so make my appearance here. Let's see. Okay, that's my arm. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun considering I was kind of like trying to get done by 8 o'clock, which may also be the case today. But we're doing things a little bit differently today, so we'll see how that shakes out. Let's see. I think you guys have some idea what's on the menu for today, and if not, my the old hat, the old pin, and the t-shirt should give you an idea. We're gonna get started. Now I can actually present my drawing table at a 90-degree angle. This is what I was so excited to show you guys over the weekend, but you know, other things kind of took precedence. So I got that. I finally got that other shelf built. Finally got that other shelf built. So. Yeah, I think I mentioned. I mentioned on Saturday. I'll mention it again. No sooner did I end up finishing putting up the lower shelf to put my camera on than the first bookshelf that I put up here months ago came loose. And I had to take it out completely. I had to take it completely out of the wall. I had to take all of the crappy anchors out of the wall that I had used for it. And luckily, I had much better anchors on standby, and I didn't even have to drill any new holes in the wall or anything like that. No, they were anchors, but they were. It was weird, I guess we'll get into home improvement corner here, but they were metal anchors. They were meant to go in the wall a certain way, and the screws were meant to. I think they were meant for much longer screws. So they didn't go all the way. Like, first of all, they didn't go all the way into the wall. Second of all, the screws didn't go all the way into the anchors. So really, they were just kind of like hanging on by a thread. And when I put the weight of about, I'll show you guys here. I'm not gonna move the camera for when I put the weight those are the ones right there. When I put the weight of that many books on them, eventually eventually that weight started to pull it out of the wall. So literally all it needed was, you know, for it to be, you know, disturbed even a little bit, like say from pulling a book off of that shelf, and you know, one whole end of it just fell out of the wall. That could have been a lot worse. Could have been a whole lot worse, because like I said, I had good anchors that actually fit into the holes that I had already drilled for the crappy anchors. I replaced the bad ones with the good ones. The good ones hold much more weight, and I was able to stick the same shelf with new anchors in the same spot in the same wall, and everybody's happy now, at least for now. I'm hoping that, you know, I don't see any reason why that shelf shouldn't be in there for good now. And, yeah, it's a much better setup, I think. Yeah, we're gonna do some slightly different things today, in that I'm going to be doing almost no pencil artwork. I'm going to be doing almost no pencil drawing. We're going straight to the paint today. This is both to save time and because most of today's artwork is going to be very sort of impressionistic anyway, and you'll see why soon. Just once again, I want to thank you guys for being here. And this should be a fun bit of artwork. I've been wanting to do something kaiju related for a while, and something specifically Godzilla related for a while. As good a place as I need to start. So what we're gonna see at first is just a whole lot of color on the page, and it's going to eventually work its way into becoming something coherent. Once again, one of those things where I'm not entirely sure what it's going to look like. I know what I want it to look like. Also, I'm going to be changing around this music an awful lot because I'm using some new stuff today. And I am not entirely sure what music Twitch will and will not get a bug up its ass about as far as muting me for DMCA. And I don't want to spend too much time on one particular track, because if I do end up getting muted, then at least that way it'll only be for a short period of this video, in case anybody's wondering. But yeah, let me know if you guys are feeling this this modified setup. I won't go so far as to call it brand new, but it's definitely different. Yeah, I've already had videos muted. I've already had a couple of videos muted on Twitch because of DMCA. And so far they've been relatively short. The ones that I've had, they knock out, because you have the option to dispute it, and to appeal why your video was muted. They have to tell you exactly what song they muted. So that means they also have to make sure that they mute it for the length of that song, if they're going to do it at all. Which, that's annoying enough as it is, but it could be a lot worse, I think. The only time that getting my video muted really pissed me off was the only time when getting my video muted really pissed me off was about a week and a half ago, when I did the Sketchbook Saturday Keaton Batman, and I was trying to and I was going over my whole adjusted schedule for that week, because that was the week last week that I was going back to work. And literally that entire last 5 minutes of my stream got muted, and that was when I was going over all of my my new schedule for that week going forward. It turns out I don't think anybody watched that video or hasn't watched that video yet, so I mean, ultimately it's kind of a moot point, but it's also kind of the principle of the thing. I know, Retro Game says, I know a fair few streamers now are finding lists of songs which can be used. Yeah, I need to do that myself as well. I need to look into that as well. Right now, I'm sticking with the royalty-free stuff, which even that sometimes gets flagged. Yeah, if you guys have suggestions, I am 100% open to hearing them. Just get at me later on, and let's see what I can find. Let's get some Dr. Brown. I'm sure it couldn't hurt. Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and complain too much about DMCA. DMCA is a pain in the ass, but I also understand artists need to get paid for their work. So I'm not gonna, rules are rules. I don't own Twitch. I'm not gonna act like, it's like it's my call to make. It's not. Their house, their rules. even if I don't necessarily agree with all of them. I've only been at this for about a month. I really, you know, I got no leg to stand on anyway right now as far as complaints go. So now we've got... Thanks for the host, Retro Gamer. I appreciate it very much. Now we've got some basic color work in here. I'll migrate some of this stuff. I've gotten very lazy with cleaning my palettes these past couple of days. I'm trying to use that to my advantage now. Now, I can thicken this paint up over here. Yeah, I don't disagree with you though. We do what we can. We all do what we can. Definitely lighten this middle part up. That's what I'm building towards. But it's a lot easier to do that when I got a color underneath to work with. Then blending is it's both easy and fun. Yeah, you're also correct on that, Retro Gamer. The thing that happens is that it's hard to police the subtleties of all of that. It's hard to efficiently police that without it costing a lot of money and resources. So most corporations just say, screw it, it's not worth the trouble, and, you know, just in a blanket sort of way, just decide to do away with all of it. That is how it works. If it's too expensive and if it's less expensive to do something stupider, then they'll do something stupider. Yeah, I heard something about even public domain stuff was getting swatted at one point because this is, I think, specifically a YouTube thing. This was specifically something that was happening on YouTube for a while. Was that there were who would make copyright claims on just about everything. I think I think they at one point they were buying up the rights to they were buying up specific rights to music, to specific music in certain public domain movies, and then hitting the claim button on those grounds. I think the example that I heard was It's a Wonderful Life, which has been public domain like forever, but some of the songs in it weren't necessarily also public domain. Some of the music in it wasn't, and somebody had actually bought the rights to that, to some of the songs in It's a Wonderful Life, and then tried to pull that copyright crap with with people rebroadcasting the movie on those grounds. I don't think that ended up working out too well, but anything to A, make a buck, and B, to make somebody else's life miserable, I guess. Lighten this up ever so slightly. I'm going to darken it a little bit on this side. Let's see, this is where I got to remove all the tape from this thing, so it may or may not slide. Hopefully it's weighed down enough. So that it won't move just yet. Welcome back, Retro Gamer. How'd that end up working out? Well, did anybody try to challenge him on it? It sounds like a pretty good idea. Was it ever challenged in any way? Because that's the thing, That's the thing. You can come up with all these clever sorts of things, but it's just the act of making a claim and presenting a challenge will slow down, and in some cases bring to a screeching halt everything else in the first place. And if you're a general troll who wants to watch the world burn, that's really all you intend to do anyway. That's really the largest intent of everything is you're really just out to screw up somebody's day. Yeah. It's a little bit like, you know what I'm talking about with this, Will. It's a little bit like how most hacking and most people that seed, viruses and Trojans now on people's computers, it's really just kind of beyond it's really kind of gone beyond the realm of just general mischief and more into the realm of like ransomware and that sort of thing, because you know, some people who are into that sort of thing are just purely looking to screw, you know, like I said, screw up somebody's day. But most of the time, if you want to most of the time, if you can monetize being a dick, you will. And that's true across the board, you know, no matter what you're into. You know, once people decided, like, hey, wait a minute, once people realize, hey, wait a minute, you know, there are people that will actually pay money to get us to stop, you know, doing these things to them, then that became the game, mostly. And in some parts of the world, that's a 9-to-5 job now, so... And that's why I always encourage, I try to encourage people as much as possible to check out some of the spam baiting, some of the spam baiter accounts out there that like to have fun with phone scammers, and you know, 99% of them are really just trying to get your money, and they're trying to get the money of your friends and family. Because I like to promote at least one other Twitch streamer while I'm doing this. Yeah, everybody, do yourself a favor and check out Kit Boga on Twitch. He's one of the best guys out there that really makes a lot of these scam artists work for it, and he will keep people, you know, scammers occupied for hours and hours, and sometimes days on end. And he's also just really hilarious with how he does it, and you know, he's providing a good service to people out there, so you should check out his channel. He's on Twitch and YouTube and all, you know, lots of other things. Yeah, another time I'll show you. He did a recent video like a week or two ago that is probably the best video he ever did, because he managed to get, you know, somebody on his stream that dude is some kind of like psychopath, because when he couldn't get what he wanted out of when the scammer couldn't get what he wanted out of him, he was pretending to be Kit was pretending to be somebody else. When that scammer couldn't get what he wanted, he lost his shit, and it was the most entertaining thing. I must have heard that video like 10 times already by now, and it's only been like 2 or 3 weeks. It is the funniest, you know, psychopath meltdown you will ever hear. And the only thing that, you know, kept it from being as funny as it could have been was that he really thought he was, you know, he really thought he was screaming at an old lady. He wasn't, but that's what he thought, and that's what he does to actual old ladies out there that he scams and rips off and makes them think that he's going to take all of their money if they don't cooperate. So yeah, there's a lot of that, Will. There's a lot of that. I'll show it to you later. Just remind me. You will not be sorry. Yeah, I've never actually seen a true Linux OS in action. The closest that I've ever seen was like a former roommate of mine who was into a lot of that stuff. He used an OS that was similar to Linux, but it was custom made by a friend of his. Because, you know, I think it was just one of those things that, like, you know, his buds did for fun. Like, they would... My mom was briefly skipped. Mom was briefly scammed by someone claiming to be Amazon. Someone supposedly ordered an iPhone on her card, so they wanted all the card info. Thankfully, yeah. Unfortunately, my mother very recently got scammed by one of those guys. You know, I wish I had gotten. You know, I didn't react very well to it. I wish I'd reacted better when she told me about it, but to say the least. But I was more upset. You know, I was kind of more upset with myself that I wasn't able to catch it and stop it. Because one of the things I do in my day job, I actually give a couple of cybersecurity classes in my day job. And I try to educate, you know, adults about some very basic things you can do to protect yourself and to protect your computer and your passwords and that sort of thing. I don't, you know, there's a lot of things I could get into. Like I could get into talking about like dark web and all of that, but I don't necessarily really want to put like the fear of God in, you know, some unassuming, you know, housewives and 9 to 5 middle-aged parents and grandparents. Because you start getting, you know, I hear stuff about dark web and all of that stuff, and that kind of scares the hell out of me in some, you know, in some cases, depending on what we're talking about. So there's nobody, I can't imagine anybody who would be aware at all of what the dark web is in the first place that wouldn't also know how to, you know, how to protect their own stuff. So I try not to, yeah, exactly. I try not to get into all that. That's for a much more advanced and much more savvy crowd that even I don't feel qualified enough to really discuss that. There are things about that sort of stuff that I don't know enough about to be there's certain things that I don't even feel qualified to go on to discuss. We're gonna dry this once again. Yeah, that stuff just makes me nervous anyway. Which Pirate Bay are you talking about? Because isn't Pirate Bay on like their 12th incarnation by now or something like that? Like every time a federal government shuts them down, they just relocate somewhere else under a slightly different name and a slightly different IP. So. Well, the thing is, Pirate Bay is probably mainly run by people who can code, can code in their sleep. And when you're dealing with people like that, you're always going to be playing catch up to them. These are the type of people, like I was telling you, these are the type of people that, write their own OSs for fun. Not the type of people that you want to try to match wits with, at least not in terms of programming. We're gonna go with some darker colors first. I'm gonna try something here. Once again, I'm not sure if it's gonna work. Silk Road, Pirate Bay. They're both. I don't know. They're both locations. They're both places. They could conceivably exist. I don't know. Yeah, not only are they, people that, have all day to work on this stuff, they're often the people that originate how these sorts of things are done. Like, they're the ones that create a lot of the technology that makes it possible for them to do the things that they do. So regulating somebody's, regulating somebody against their own software and their own code is very difficult, and that is also why every once in a while you start hearing these stories about how, oh yeah, by the way, every cell phone network, in America got randomly shut down today. And nobody knows why. And nobody knows how. And sometimes you barely even know from where. Cat torrents, I don't know. You might have to be more specific. That's really the only way that any of these jerk-offs get caught in the first place, is that they kind of tell on themselves, or they kind of get, they kind of screw themselves over. They get overconfident and end up, doing something so monumentally stupid that, anybody with, reasonable intelligence could find, could track them and arrest them. Or they get thrown under the bus by somebody else. And now we're gonna... This is all freehand painting. This is, you know, this should be a good, you know, this should be a good bit of fun, I think. Do a lot of ostensibly, yeah, same with drug dealers and other criminal enterprises. Only a matter of time and how much attention you attract to yourself and your activities before they come for you. Yeah, that's how. I mean, that's a lot of times that's how it goes. Or like I said, you know, somebody else who's trying to get away with something even worse throws a couple of people under the bus just so, you know, just so that the authorities get preoccupied with one person or group of people, while others get to you know, can sort of sink into some obscurity. Yeah, Tor was supposed to offer perfect anonymity online. Depends on what you mean by anonymity and who you mean anonymity from is more like it. Anonymity from people who don't know jack about Tor, yeah, sure, but that's not always the case. Yeah, anonymity from the authorities tracking you down and filing charges. That's because the authorities only have so much information to work with. They only have so much knowledge to work with. Once again, because they're not the people that, you know, that create these places, these online spaces. So they are largely unaware of, you know, the ins and outs of it and how they may, you know, how people that are aware of those things are able to use that to their advantage. I feel like I've done something similar to this before. I can't remember exactly when it was, but... And I don't know if it was in color. I mean... I drew a post-apocalypse comic for 10 years. For probably closer to 12 years, so... I've drawn a lot of flaming wreckage in my day. Quite remember if it was anything quite like this, though. Maybe it was similar. guys get a look at the palette cam for a little while. Over here. Now what I'm gonna hope to eventually do here is get some degree of perspective, which I don't recommend. I usually won't recommend anybody does that just by eyeball alone. I always recommend to measure your perspective if you can. But if we're being experimental here and we're trying to try some different things, then it couldn't hurt. Sometimes if you have the mental image that's strong enough to move forward with that, then do next, and some of this is drying, you come back, and now you drop some highlights in. Not a lot, but this being opaque paint, you can paint light colors on dark colors more easily than in some other media. This is only semi-transparent, so and since the brightest light is coming from here, this is where I want most of the highlights to be for right now. Fade this down so it doesn't look too out of place over here or here. Feeling I might be doing that a lot though. I want some of this to look pronounced, and some of it I want it to be almost completely swallowed up by these other colors, where it's very light over here. That's where I'm using the wettest paint so far, and I want most of it to get dissolved. I want to give the impression that this is not just fire back here, but also smoke. But the fire is so bright you can't see the smoke. Hopefully you guys noticed I'm leaving a whole lot of space right over here. Oh, what could he be leaving space for over there? That big giant space in the middle. What indeed. There's where we gotta start getting brave. I think it's working out. I like that. I like how that looks. That looks appropriately sort of overwhelmed by the light here. I want to create the impression of destroyed buildings, but only in the most general sense. I want these buildings to be so destroyed that you can barely recognize what they are, what little is still standing. Just gets lighter and lighter as it goes up. That, my friends, is another thing that I was not sure was going to work. Let's all take a moment and be thankful that it did. Yep, see you in a minute. We'll be here for a while yet. Dry this up a little bit more. Excuse me. What do you guys think so far? I'm into it. I'm digging it so far. Don't let that affect your decision making, but I'm into it. I'm interested to see where this is gonna go next. Thank you, Retro. Watching in background while playing Animal Crossing. Listen, Animal Crossing I think has become like the unofficial video game of 2020. So I understand completely. Not an Animal Crossing guy myself, but I understand totally. Something good here. Get that dark brown going again. These bottom parts. Sorry for the bumpage of the microphone. I am using the bump brush again. similar to what we were doing over here. Basically not doing anything with this brush besides letting the paint get thinner and thinner as I apply it. Another thing that we'll see what happens right now is be right back. Is it blending time already? "'Tis," replied Aunt Helga. Now, what I might have to do is put another layer of red over this. Because by itself, I don't think it's going to blend as well as I need it to. But with another color, it should work out. Put this aside for just a minute. Let's see. Yeah, Simpsons mine on as always. Yeah. Trust me, it's a vital part of my vocabulary by this point. A day without Simpsons quoting is like a day without air. Let's orange this up a little bit. I don't like how this color is just sitting there. If I blend it out too much, I'm going to lose this stuff. But yeah, I'm going to have to put some stuff over here. Otherwise, it's all gonna draw way too much attention to itself. I was hoping to avoid that, but that's okay. There's still plenty of room up here. Just let that dry out a little bit more. Hey, Lindsay. What's wrong? What's up? What's going on? See if we can make this resemble sort of layers here of destruction, you can call it. Probably should let this dry a lot more than it already has, but I'm just so intrigued. I just want to see how this is going to come out. Little tree, not trees exactly. See, I'm trying to make them look a little bit less like trees. That's what I was kind of worried about. do look like trees, but that's my fault. I look a little bit more like trees than I would have preferred. Yeah. Let's add some red to this and see. It's going to need more red than that for it to actually show. This is what we get when I decide I don't want to pencil much of my artwork for today. I decide I'm going to freehand 99% of it. Get all this sort of semi-abstract rubble. Hope to have looking less abstract by the time we're done. Sort of the further away we get from these darkest highlights, the more we're going to use our darker color. think, briefly, I like to go even darker and even thinner with the brush. Thinner than that. And it's more controlled. That stuff. I meant to do that. Do down here, I wish to also do up here, which is give us a layer of thin lines up top. Every so often. Got something bigger popping up out of here. That's just to make it a little bit more interesting, and make it look like it's not entirely following one single perspective. some twisted structures that are closer, that are more foreground shapes here. Last bit of drying. Something else. Nope. Too small. Or too big. Quite transparent enough. guys have watched me long enough at this point, you have a sense that I get quietest when I'm really trying to make something work, but I'm not having a whole lot of success with making work. So just bear with me for just another minute. Kind of bail on this part of the experiment here. No, I get it, boss. It is probably quite late where you are, so thank you for stopping by, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. This is what we're gonna do next. Generating. I think the only part that I am gonna do in pencil, and I'll do it in just a moment. There's one thing I gotta do first. You got goldfish crackers? Where'd you get goldfish crackers? I want goldfish crackers. I got some dinner waiting for me, but I'll have to wait just a little bit longer. Okay. I think I'm good here. Now, how do I want to do this? There we go. think we got the idea for that. Let's see. The best part of this right here is I don't have to worry about any terribly organic shapes. One goldfish, he's gonna try to take the rest from you, so be careful. Oh, that's why he's gonna try to take the rest of them from you. Now you're just showing off. Just asking for trouble shaking this pen up, but gotta do it. Alright, well, take care. I'll talk to you guys later. I'll show you that video later on, too, when I have a chance. Just remind me. I kind of want to see your reaction. Nope, no good. Really no good. Alright. That's just not gonna do it all. I'm gonna have to go get some ink. Just a moment. It's right around the corner. Alright, which brush am I going to ruin first here? These are good brushes. I knew I had a good brush for ink lying around. Alright. That's the stuff. Oof. The things I go through to get decent ink. And a brush good enough to paint it on. It's okay, Lindsay. We're actually almost done, so it's no big thing. I'm gonna keep it short and relatively simple today. I'll be drying momentarily. But why not help it along a little bit, I guess. Thought for a second I hadn't muted the microphone just then. That would have been very unpleasant for anybody listening. Just a matter of tightening this up now. Now what I might do on Thursday, which I believe I'll be going at 7 on Thursday, if not earlier. But I may end up doing a companion to this one. I have an idea I'd like to try out. Japanese, you say? I wonder why that. I wonder why that might be. specifically because well, this was the plan for most of the day to paint this, but I also managed to fit in a very quick, very truncated viewing of Shin Godzilla earlier this afternoon. Or really, like, I wrapped it up like a minute and a half before we were gonna start here today. Because that is one of my favorite Godzilla movies. It's probably the best one since the original one, as far as pure giant monster carnage. And it did something that I really didn't think was possible. Well, I'll watch that one anytime. We can still watch that together, trust me. I'll watch that one again anytime. But yeah, it was the first Godzilla movie probably since the original one that actually made Godzilla scary. I mean, like, legitimately, oh my god, this monster is gonna destroy us all scary. Which I really appreciated. I was lucky enough to see that movie in the theater. Love it to death. It also is one of the only Godzilla movies that manages to make, you know, sort of the human characters at least as interesting as the monster carnage and the monster destruction. I actually threw the invite to my friend Noel, who was in here on Saturday. I was hoping he might be able to pop in, but I guess he's getting ready to start his own. He does watch together on Tuesdays, which I may jump in there. I think he starts a little bit after I'll be finished here. But he's been doing a retrospective of all of pretty much Toho's whole entire giant monster movie catalog. He, like me, he's a huge Toho fan. I'm a huge Godzilla fan, and I thought he'd get a kick out of this. I know he saw it. Hopefully he'll catch it. He'll catch it on the rerun and he'll dig it. Last minute things I want to add to this. Let's see how well it works. Let's see how well this shows up against black, first of all. Yeah, not very. Put that aside. Let's see how this works. put this eye back in here. One thing that was really cool and really kind of terrifying about Godzilla in Shin Godzilla was just how alien and inhuman they made him look. I think that was kind of the key to making him scary again. In a lot of the, you know, especially the 70s Toho movies, they made him a little bit too recognizable and a little bit too relatable looking. I mean, in the 70s Godzilla movies, he's a glorified cartoon character, and that's fun in its own way. I don't really have anything against that. But, even in the later sort of post-2000 era Godzilla movies, they had this, you know, they had a look for him that was a little bit too familiar, I think. When they designed him in Shin Godzilla, they took a lot of that away, and he ended up looking pretty effectively creepy. He had this one big round bug eye with no eyelid whatsoever that just kind of stared into, you know, into nowhere in particular. And there was this really sort of impassivity, I don't know if that's the correct way of saying it, impassivity or impassiveness or passiveness. Hopefully you get the idea. You get what I'm trying to say. They literally threw the entirety of every weapon in the Japanese military at him, and he just kind of stood there and took it. He didn't really, you know, he didn't really even respond angrily at first. He just kind of stared a hole into everybody before later on quite literally breathing a hole into everything. I'm gonna play these down a little bit because it's messing up the silhouette. Especially here. Shin Godzilla really went back to basics with making Godzilla much less of a character and much more of a force of nature that really can't be communicated with in any way. And seemingly, and I don't want to spoil what happens, but seemingly can't be stopped either. And boy, do they try. Cover that up. That's not necessary to keep open like that. Work as well. Nope, that's the wrong one. Is that it? Yep. Yeah, this pen, yeah, marker. sort of. Too close to the sun there. A little too close to the sun there. Okay. That's about as much as I want to get to here. Touch these up a little bit because this is supposed to look a little bit more, a little bit glowier. If there's anything else I might see fit to touch up, it'll be later on. It'll be very minor. For now, I'm comfortable calling this one. It's a really hard one to see. I might go over that one later. Anyway, this concludes our first of what may be a kaiju sort of week. Stay tuned for information about that. As for now, it looks like I will be It looks like I will be coming to you on Thursday. And you know what? I'll make it official here. Thursday, it's at 6, just like today. We'll make it an early Thursday night. So anybody that's watching, we will be back this Thursday, September 3rd at 6 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully I'll see you then. And like I said, I'm leaning towards continuation of this. Something else kaiju related that hopefully you guys will dig. So thanks anybody who was coming. Thanks anybody who stopped by. Thanks anybody who's watching in the archive, if you will. I will see you again real soon. I'll see you again in 48 hours actually. Till then, everybody, never stop making friends through art. Until I see you again, everybody remember, always remember, stay safe, laugh hard, ride fast, be kind.